Welcome to the Saturday service. Is that recording? That is recording. This is live. Hi, this is me, and I want to say there. Give me a moment, folks.
Yeah, I haven't got your notification that you've gone live on Facebook.
I have gone live on Facebook. I promise. Good morning. Yes, I think we are live. Hi, everybody. Glad you guys are all here. This is the Saturday service. I'm Rabbi Brian. I'm preferring they, them pronouns currently, as I'm. Somebody gave me the tip because I was having a hard time transitioning on somebody's pronouns and mispronouncing them. Someone gave me this tip, which was that if you get yourself in the habit of referring to most everyone with they, them pronouns, then you don't have to make as many exceptions. And then I upped it one and I said, well, what if I refer to myself with they, them pronouns and help the fight in that way? And so that's what I wanted to start us off with this morning, is just a little thinking about social justice. And I meant to look up the quote, and I think it's Angela Davis, and I could be wrong. If someone would check it, it's the quote is, activism is the price I pay as rent for living in this world. That activism is my rent. That I have to be in social justice is the rent that I pay for being around in this world. And I apologize, I don't have the quote exactly right, but there are many things that we can do, small little things like, hey, recognizing the fact that I currently am on land that was unceded from the Clackamas people. That's one thing I can do. Another thing I can do to help out is to put my pronouns on my screen so people know that I'm not only an ally, but I'm fighting for justice. And then let me show everyone who's here so people can see I'm not just talking to myself. Hey, people, would you guys wave for a moment? And I see lots of people have pronouns and some people have whose lands they are on. So thank you for doing that. Please stay active. Please help to fight to make this a better world. And the word fight there, I'm going to just babble for a second on. It seems, how do you fight hatred with hatred? And that doesn't make a lot of sense. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote, darkness cannot dispel darkness, only light can do that. Hatred cannot dispel hatred, only love can do that. And I got into a wonderful discussion, a challenging discussion with someone who said, Rabbi, you have to stop telling us to be kind to the people who oppress us because we need to be active. And I was thinking about it, and if you haven't read Fanon, Fanon, I don't know how to say his name properly. Anyone have that on me? Fanon? Fanon. He was a French guy, philosopher, and he said that it is only, and this shook me up, he said it is only through the violence that a people can set themselves free after having been oppressed, after having, he made a case that you have to go towards violence, which
Don't believe that.
I don't subscribe to, but I understand it more the more I read. So if you want some more activism, read on Fanon, Fanon, and his ideas of liberation. Okay, let's start today. Good morning, folks.
Morning.
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 Good morning. I'm glad you're here. If this is your first time joining or second time joining, super awesome welcome. I hate going to a place and them saying, would all the newcomers please stand up? Because that's just like, that's the last thing you want to do if you're a newcomer. If you're newish here, you are welcome. We're not going to make you stand up. If you'll notice that people will talk because this is interactive, this is live, and encouraged to have people share. if you have something to share and you've not spoken before, I want to super encourage you to join. Let's start with a little bit of review from last week. Let's do a little bit of review from last week. Hey, folks, is there something that we talked about last week that's sticking with you? Is there something that, well, first of all, that would involve that you were here last week. So show of hands, were you here last week or did you see last week's service? If you, fantastic, great. And was there something, a one sentence of something that could fit written within an index card on a, with a Sharpie, that size of a learning? Is there something that you're taking with you from last week? What are you taking with you from last week? Something we talked about. Yeah, Rags, what do you got?
I'm sorry, I did not mean to raise my hand. How did I do that?
Oh, I forgot about that. So there's a new feature in Zoom when I asked you to raise your hands if you were here last week. That it raised it. There's an automatic hand raiser. So no worries, Rags. No problems at all.
I was here, but I'm not, nothing is coming.
No worries, no worries. We did do a drawing exercise, and that I will tell you my review of that drawing exercise. I had everyone draw an apple, a pear, and some dice on the screen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then we talked about it.
Yeah, what I didn't realize was I am a victim of my own success. Is usually when I do a drawing exercise with the group gets all twittery and upset, and people don't like their own drawing. But you all seem to have been just fine showing your drawings to each other. And it was pointed out to me, silly Rabbi, you've encouraged us to love each other and to love ourselves enough that we were fine showing our drawings to each other. So my goal of inducing a little bit of stress in you failed from having previously prepared you. So good job, everyone. And we're going to try a different game today. Another learning that we started last week. We did do a quick review of the stages of learning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember those stages of learning? And we're doing the. Did I tell you about the homework policy in my high school?
No.
Okay, so I taught high school after leaving organized regular religion. I taught high school for a lot of years, and I was fortunate in one of my schools in Los Angeles to have a principal who wrote a book called The End of Homework. And there's a movement in schooling that we don't give, that homework's not really helpful. It's a lot of it winds up being busy work. Of course, reading, that's not busy work, but a lot of things like for math, which is what I was teaching, the homework becomes busy work. So the principal encouraged us to not give homework and see, could we teach everything in class? And the way to make that happen is there's frequent review. So we're going to do a little review of the 5 stages of learning and see if you can't remember them as we go through them. So stage 1 is you can't do the thing.
Yep.
And stage 5 is you can do it perfectly.
Right.
There are 3 stages in between. So you can't do the thing at all. The next level up from that is, can I get somebody to share that?
A lot of help.
You can do the thing, but you need a lot of help, right? So you can't do the thing, you can do the thing, but you need a lot of help. The level after that is not only, you don't need a lot of help, you only need
A hint.
Reminder.
yeah, you need hints, you need a reminder, you need somebody to say, hey, what's the next stage after that? And then the next stage after, you're getting hints from somebody else. So here, wait, the first one was
Can't do it.
can't do it. The second one,
A lot of
Can
help.
do it with lots
a
of.
lot of help. Next one is just you can do it when
Need
you're
help.
given hints.
Need
And then
hints.
finally,
You can do it
Internal.
yourself.
Help. Give
you
yourself
can,
hints.
you can give yourself hints, and giving yourself hints helps you to do it. That's fantastic. And we talked about, and I think it was Alex who shared it, that we need to remember that the other people in the room, the people who were teaching, that everyone else needs the same amount of time to learn something. Just telling someone to do something once Doesn't mean they've learned how to do it. They might need hints for a while. And there was one other thing of learning that went like this. Whoop, 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 backwards on that.
Stress.
Yeah, the other thing to remember when we're talking about learning is that stress pushes us down one level. So if you're able to do something perfectly and you're under stress, you're going to fall down to...
Remind yourself.
You're going to need to remind yourself. If you know it at the stage where you can remind yourself of it and there's a lot of stress, you're going to go down.
Need hints.
You're going to
Hints
need
from
hints.
External help.
Yeah, you're going to need some external help. And if you're at that, you're going to go down, etc., etc. And I find it really useful to apply these. This is Lev Vygotsky's zone of proximal ZPD, zone of proximal, I can't remember, development. That's the D. Zone of proximal development. This is his theory. And it's important. It's good to keep in mind of everything, including loving ourselves. Loving ourselves. For some of us, we might think about loving ourselves and that we start with, we're not able to do it. Well, that's not true. We're all able to when we're young, when we're little, when we're babies. We all have better or worse, some better self-esteem. That gets pushed out of us pretty hard by society. So some of us have a strong inability to love ourselves, and then some of us need someone outside of us to do what?
Coaches.
Help.
Reinforce it.
And then maybe we just need them to come over and tell us they love us or give us a hint. And then sometimes, hey, I have a tattoo on my leg now, and it says BELOVED.
Beloved.
It means be loved and beloved. I think both of those are true. I have that there to remind myself that I'm beloved. And it's not easy to get all the way to loving yourself all the time without needing hints. Okay. Good review, team. One other thing we started last week, and then we're going to try a new game. I'm so excited about the new thing we're going to try.
Hold me back.
Sour.
Yeah, the sour.
You guys are so good. That's exactly what I was going to write. Sour or sore, as in dinosaur. There was some bad dad joke with a dinosaur, and I can't remember it right now. So you're all very fortunate. Love is made. This is from Dr. Logan Fox. That there's a behavioral definition of love. That there are 4 aspects to love. And the 4 aspects of love go like this. The first one is S, and the S stands for
See.
seeing. And if you don't remember this, that's okay. Right? We're going for self-kindness. And if you don't remember a thing, it doesn't mean you're broken or you're a bad person. It just means you don't remember a thing. It just means that maybe you still need hints from the outside. This one. You still need hints from the outside. So seeing someone, that's the S. The A is?
Accept.
Yeah.
Accepting.
Accept. And to truly love, you need to see, you need to accept, you need to...
Wasn't it acknowledge?
I think yes.
I like acknowledge better.
So
Me
it
too.
used... Well, I'm very glad you all like that.
Because you said, for example was the tie-dye shirt, and so you said if you see it and then you acknowledge it.
Right. So that was... There are going to be synonyms here.
Got it.
I used to call this one recognize. This used to be rawr. But I then changed it to sour.
Okay.
So recognize, to see someone, to accept them. So let me talk a little bit more about accept in a moment. Let me put down the U, which is
Understand.
understand. So Logan Fox did start this with accept, and if I misspoke, that's on me, my bad. That the first thing is you have to see, you have to recognize, you have to you have to acknowledge, that would be where the acknowledge was, that the least loving thing we can do is ignore. The cruelest thing we can do is to pretend someone or their feelings don't exist and don't matter. That's the opposite of love. When you see somebody with purple hair, to acknowledge, hey, I went to the bank yesterday and Kirsten, she was all decked out in St. Patrick's Day. She had green eyeshadow and green and different color greens. They didn't all go together, but that was fine. And I said, oh, wow, you're all decked out for St. Patrick's Day. That's seeing, that's recognizing. Accepting is, here's this quote from Thomas Merton. The beginning of love is to let those we love be perfectly themselves and not to twist them into our own image. Otherwise, we love only the reflection of ourselves we find in them. I'm going to read that one again. This is about acknowledge. This is about accepting. Sorry, this is about accepting. The beginning of love is to let those we love be perfectly themselves. It's accepting someone as they are. And I would love if somebody would, on the chat, I only have this in, would somebody type that quote into the chat so people can get it? The beginning of love is to let those we love be perfectly themselves and not to twist them to fit our own image. Otherwise, we love only the reflection of ourselves we find in them. That's accepting. I accept you for who you are. It doesn't mean approval. It means acceptance. Understanding is having empathy, is saying, okay, you're doing what you're doing, and I understand that. I might have made a different choice, but I understand that you are who you are. And the last is
Respond.
respond. The last aspect of love is that we have to respond, that we don't just do this all up in here. I could notice that she's wearing green, but to respond, to say something, to do something, that love is an action. Larry is a big believer, Larry, my best friend, he's a big believer that our actions inform our thinking. That you start with the actions and the actions inform our thinking. And the more we act lovingly, the more we become loving. That there's only so much of it we can start with up top. Okay. Thank you for that review. Let me just do a quick quiz.
Our actions inform
That
what?
our actions inform our thinking.
Thank you.
Anyone
That's
who's,
a basic Jewish idea. Perform a mitzvah, the faith will come.
yeah. So there's a quote. Thank you, Carol, for adding that. There's a Jewish in when the Ten Commandments are given somewhere in Exodus. It says the Hebrew. It says we will do and we will understand. Like that.
Do first, then understand.
So that you do first, even if you don't understand, which can lead to some problems, right? You're just following orders. That's what somebody said you should do, and you'll understand eventually. But the idea is that we need to do the loving acts. If I am mad at my children, and that happens from time to time, and I do something loving for them, like I buy them their favorite snack at the store, it forces me to, in the act of picking up the licorice for my ungrateful child, it gets me into, I'm not now buying it with spite. I'm buying it because I love them. It's the action brings me to the thoughts. Okay, let me do a quick review, and then we're going to try something we've never done before. SAUR, that stands for?
See.
See,
Accept.
accept,
Understand. Respond.
respond.
Very good, very good. Okay, we ready to play a new game, folks?
Sure.
This, because your choices are sure, or
Silence.
I guess you could put up a stink.
Let's go for it.
No, no.
Hold on a second. This is the Sabbath, right? The Sabbath is. I was talking to someone yesterday who's reaffirming their Judaism, and we were called. It was time zoning, so it had passed sunset where they were, and it had not yet sunset where I am. And they said, "Oh, I haven't done Shabbat yet. Shabbat's already passed. I didn't do it." And I said, "Shabbat happens when I say it happens." Now, that's a little egotistical, but I don't do Shabbat exactly at sunset because that's not always the time we're ready to eat and we're ready to sit in my house. So we light the candles when it's the time to light the candles, which is based on our house's rhythm. Shabbat is a mindset. It's a way of thinking, and it's about rest and taking some time off. And here's what I want us to try. I want to try to induce some rest. Let me put a timer up for 5 minutes, and I'm going to share my screen. Come on. I practiced this. Hold on. Gandhi said, please hold. No, there. Gandhi said, there is more to life than increasing its speed. When I spoke at the start about actions we can do that are revolutionary, slowing down and not buying into this sick culture we live in that says more widgets, cheaper, faster. I feel the difference. Silence is really intimate. Silence is really intimate. And I assume, Hugh, that your taking space adds intimacy, which is not comfortable for some people.
I think it's something we can learn. The more, and this is getting back to your awesome review of what we learn. We need external reminders to be silent, and then we can, learn to do it ourselves. But I believe silence. I think about music. I mean, what makes music awesome music? It's not just the notes. It's the space that happens between the notes that makes music. And a friend said to me one time, and I've been trying to live this, I go at the pace I go. That's what she said to me. And I heard that as a prophetic word, meaning a word that I found wonderfully challenging, because it was an invitation to me to participate in this countercultural activity to create space. And it's hard because I live in a job where much is demanded of me, and I work with people who do not leave much room for space. And so it's hard for me, but I continue to try, and I'm still learning.
I think part of the problem is that we are finite, living in an infinite universe. And so either we distract ourselves from the fact that we are moving further along on the timeline where we're going to die, or enter into timelessness in this time. And I think all of us have had experiences of time outside of time. Anyone who is painting, anyone who is writing, anyone who's in love, anyone who's doing something that takes them outside of time knows that that is possible. And that's the way you overcome your fear of death, not by just going faster and faster and faster.
Go. Thank you, Carol. Melissa. Melissa, you have your hand up. I don't know if you wanted to speak.
Oh, yes, I did. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, on this topic I was thinking about, I have, for a couple of years, I worked at a cafe, and I would come home from work, and my husband would want to talk to me because he was home and wasn't talking to anyone. And I'm like, I spent all of my words today on, would you like a side of potato salad, chips and salsa, or kettle chips, and a list of salad dressings. Like, I feel like I spent every word I had.
Yeah. Avon.
It's so interesting because for me, this has been absolutely an exercise in discomfort, because I think, like a lot of people, silence was a punishment in my life.
Right.
Sit down, shut up, stop talking. the class is going to sit in silence until someone confesses.
Yeah.
We're all going to, the silent treatment.
It's the
God
worst.
forbid. That the idea that not only is talking and noise so normal for us all, silence is regularly used to punish people. So then the struggle to then enjoy silence with others, because I'm certain something's wrong. Joy is very loud.
Yeah.
So if someone's quiet, surely something bad has happened, or at minimum, I'm being punished. Well,
I'm going to give us a challenge, and thank you, Avon, for that. I'm going to give us a challenge. I'm going to make a 2-minute clock. There it is. And you all can see each other. Put on gallery view. And let's take 2 minutes. Oopsie. Let's take 2 minutes in silence.
Yes.
Lexi, before we do that, you have something.
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, I am an introvert. I don't talk much. I mean, I listen to music all the time, but I think the reason it sounded so weird to me was because we're used to certain people's natural speaking rhythm.
Yes.
And so when people are purposely slowing down, it sounds weird, but that's why it felt disorienting. Less so for me, the slowness. It's just because you're so used to a certain speech pattern and everything, that's why it sounds weird. Less so the silence in between. But again, I'm naturally I speak fast when I speak, but I also don't speak often.
Yes.
So it's that weird.
And we're used to me speaking at a fast clip because I get so excited to be, watch this. I get so excited to be here with you that I rush through it. And I forget to be here with you. So I'm going to ask you, brave people, look into the camera and look at each other, and let's spend 2 minutes just silent. You can smile at each other. Beautiful. I apologize, I lost the clock. Something went a little funny on this end. Let's have a little bit of space. Charlene, yeah, my friend.
I was going to say, it's interesting. I like silence, and our home is just my husband and I. We both are, in the morning, I tend to be a little more energetic, but we often, it's nothing to us. We have a TV that we never turn on, and it's quiet. And a lot of times when I'm at work, people will say, "Oh, you're all by yourself." I actually like it. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't know whether I'd want it permanently, but I like the quiet.
I love it. Love it. So, let me I have a technical difficulty here. Excuse me a second. Okay, there we are. Let's take a moment to think about the people who are in need of some light and love. And Maria, you have a list of people, and we're going to add, I got a text from Ron, who's usually in tie-dye and poetry. He tested positive for COVID. He's not feeling well, so we're going to add him to the list as well. Go ahead, Maria.
Okay. These are the names of people to lift up and send positive energy to: Greg, Marcus, Carrie, Rita S., Daniel and Laurel, Greta, Judy Human in spirit, the Cook family, Barry, Beverly Kennedy, Norma, Golan, Krista, Ken, Joe, and Stephanie, Francis, Herb and Lucy, Peggy, Paul, Sandy, Sean, Jane, Maudie's brother, and Ron. If there is another person in our community we can offer light and love to, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list in the clubhouse. And for the people who aren't named, but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Let's sit for a minute, starting here at 20 seconds. Okay. I was just, I have this gift to give you. It's an amazing gift I'm about to give you. It's not that you didn't already have this. I'm going to remind you of a gift you already have. I'm going to remind you and give you the gift of being able to change the speed of the world around you. You have the ability to slow down. We all do. That's it. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, back to this, folks. You remember what those stood for?
Yep.
We're going to try, I'm going to try math speak. Good work. In math, we talk about the reflexive property, that x equals x. That's it for the math content. I know that gets some people stressed out. Reflexive property of sour. Sour. How about for yourself? Not about talking about other people, do you see them? But do you feel seen? Do you see yourself for who you are? Or do you ignore it? I have found I'm getting better at looking at myself in the mirror. Sometimes it's a little scary because my dad's in there. But looking at yourself, how do you do about seeing yourself? And we're going to go through all of these. Accept. How are you on accepting you are who you are, which is who you are, and that's who you are? And if you're not awesome at it, may I remind you of this?
What?
So you're not great at it, and you might need a hint from someone outside you to remind you to accept yourself as you are. That's just where you're at. No shame in it. Oh, look at that. I still need to be reminded from the outside to accept myself for who I am. Or, hey, look at where I am. I can remind myself to accept myself for who I am. Except, of course, when I'm stressed, in which case, you know what happens. Understand. Do you fully allow yourself to understand that you are who you are, which is who you are? And how about this last one? Respond. I think a lot of us fall down there. That we're better able to respond with love to other people than we are to ourselves. Hey, that was all review. Are we ready to do something new today?
Sure.
Hi, folks.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
It's good to see you. I'm going to take a moment just to be present, to be here. I have a spacious 14 minutes to bring in this next idea. We've done this one before, and we're going to keep doing it until we're all getting this perfect. It's the same tool. We are going to keep reapplying it. It's kind of like breakfast. Sure, I had breakfast today, but I'm going to have it again tomorrow. This is on the self-love. We're making a grid. And if you've been with me before, you know how this grid goes. It goes like this. Here's delta, which means change. Here's not delta, which means not changing. Here are benefits. Here are detriments. This is the work of Eli Goldratt, who did it for business purposes, but we're applying it to ourselves. It goes like this. For every decision we make to change, if we want to change and get a positive, there's a positive change that we're after. There might potentially also be some negatives to making that change. If we don't change, there are some negatives to not changing. We're exactly stuck where we were. Nothing's growing. We're not changing. But we need to see that our current reality, where we are, there's some benefits to not changing. And that if we were to change, we're going to lose the things that were in this box. Our topic for today is loving ourselves.
Ourselves.
Sour self. Sour selves. What are the benefits to not loving ourselves? There shouldn't even be an answer to this one. But there is. There are lots of them. They're sneaky. We don't always see them. But there are some benefits to not loving ourselves fully. To not seeing ourselves, accepting ourselves, understanding ourselves, responding to ourselves. What are they? What are the benefits of not loving on ourselves?
Don't have to fight with yourself.
Being a victim.
Yeah, being a victim, not having to fight with yourself. Keep going.
Maintaining the status quo.
It's easy. I know exactly how to do it.
I think it's probably a benefit to opportunistic people who are in your life.
Well, wait, explain that a little more, Afia.
Like maybe I don't benefit, but it's a benefit to other people if I don't love myself.
Oh, I'm going to keep the peace in the house because I'm not going to love on me. Yeah.
I don't see where I need to grow.
A benefit to not changing is ignorance. Would that be close?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's easier. I don't have to do nothing.
Right.
And negative pride.
Negative pride. Say a little bit more.
Well, there's a false sense, an opposite sense of pride, like
Yeah.
like I'm stupid, I'm an idiot.
I'm the worst at that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There, I hear one often, which is, well, as long as I'm beating myself up, I'm getting to the punch before they are.
Yeah.
It's self-protective for me to not love myself.
Definitely. It's a shield.
It's a shield. And let's look over here. Were it to be that I would start seeing myself, accepting myself, understanding myself, responding to myself, there would be these new problems that I haven't had to deal with. If I were,
people might not like it.
That others might not approve. If I were to love myself, some people might turn against me.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to accept myself for who I am,
peace, inner peace. It's a negative.
I would lose the peace that I currently have?
No.
And it's in the positive column.
I'm sorry. I'm missing you, Rags. There's a little noise on the line.
I was just going to say peace goes in the positive column, I think.
Correct. I agree with you. I was.
Yeah. And negative is you probably have to say bye to people yourself.
Uh-oh. You might lose some people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Challenging of the new self, the challenges of the new self.
Yeah. That's the exact opposite of the easy one. It's difficult.
Yeah, it
takes a lot more energy.
It's going to take more energy to love myself.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's flip around to the other end. If we were to love ourselves, if we were to sour ourselves, we would get more, you said already, peace. What else would you get?
Integrity.
Integrity.
Whole new world of me.
Confidence.
Ability to love other people.
Right? The ability to love others. I'm going to add in resilience.
Yeah.
I would also add the word joy.
Mm-hmm.
And boundaries.
Boundaries. If I were to love myself, I might need some boundaries up in there.
Well, it makes you able to create boundaries because you care enough about yourself to make the boundary.
Yeah. I'm going to give my favorite quote from Prentice Hemphill about boundaries. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and love myself at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it again with the hope that you pick it up. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love myself and I can love you at the same time. Saying to someone, I don't want to speak about that. Let's change the topic. I'm setting a boundary because I gotta love myself and love you. I can say, you and I can agree on 99 other things. Let's talk about those. Setting a boundary. And a little footnote to the boundary talk. when you set a boundary, someone's going to push on it.
Yeah.
If you put an animal in a cage, it's going to first walk around the size of the cage to see what are the boundaries here. That's what we do. When somebody sets a boundary, the first instinct is to test that boundary. So don't be so surprised when you say, I would like us to change the topic, and the person to say, I don't want to change the topic. That's just going to be, don't be surprised. That's what happens with boundaries. Okay. What are we trying to lose? If I'm going to love myself, I'm going to lose.
You might lose your family.
Yeah. I was thinking more internally. So what? Let me change the question that I'm asking. The negative to which we're trying to escape from not loving ourselves. I don't know that I even need to put this one up here. What are the problems of not loving, not souring on ourselves? If we don't get out of this and we don't start souring ourselves, we are going to continue to live with blank.
Bad health.
Yeah. So there are physical detriments to it. What else?
You're losing your life. You're living someone else's.
Yeah. You're not being true to yourself.
Right.
There's a tradition that says there are exactly as many entrances to the kingdom of heaven as there are people. And there's a Jewish tradition that says, should one person ever enter in through the gate of another, all will be expelled for all time. That's strong words. But we have to be us. We have to be ourselves. You have to be you. I'm going to add another benefit. Another benefit of loving yourself is you model it for other people. You model it for other people, that other people say, oh my goodness, that fool can love themselves. I can love myself too. Let me give you homework. That's
Why?
it.
I thought you came from an institution where homework was a bad idea. It's just
a
busy
terrible idea. No homework for you. Just if you would. How about this? Your homework is to come back next week.
I can't.
And if you can't, that's all right too. Just, I'm going to sermonize for, I got 2 minutes here. I'm going to sermonize for a minute. Folks, I truly believe that we each and all have the ability to make this world a better place. And if I'm going to quote Michael Jackson, and we got to start by looking at the person in the mirror, we have to start by making the world a better place. We do that ourselves. We do that internally. The more we can go out and be loving in the world, it's simple math. If I changed my name to Bob, there would be one more person named Bob in the world. It'd be a very small percentage change, but it would be a change. Similarly, if I am to go out and be more loving to other people and to myself, the world is going to change, and it might not be a big change, but it's going to be a change. Sermon concluded. The Hallelujah Choir all sings. That's it.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I'm going to stop the recording. Everyone say goodbye to the nice people on Facebook and the people watching afterwards.
Goodbye.
Bye, nice people.
Everybody.